The SUMX function is pretty much like an accountant, and they want to do some sort of summing, but they want to evaluate everything very, very carefully. And they're actually going to evaluate across the rows of the table that you specify. This essentially will calculate the sum of an expression based on each row of a table. The syntax will be SUMX, the table, comma, whatever expression you'd like iterated across the rows. The X functions here are known as iterator functions. Iterator functions are great because we can get that row context. What this will return is a decimal number. A couple ways to think about it. Let's say you own a pizza shop, and in this pizza shop, you want to assess the sales and you want to figure out what the revenue was actually by pizza slice. I'm a big Hawaiian pizza fan. I know that's very controversial. Who knows? I might get absolutely flamed for that one. I don't know. Pizzas ordered, I could multiply that by the slices per pizza and then multiply that by the price per slice. So you could imagine, right? I might have a special deluxe pizza which only gives me 4 slices, but I could sell them for $5 a slice. And then just a plain cheese where maybe I get 10 slices, but I sell them for $1, right? I could expand my summing because now I could put all those into consideration, and it has to iterate across the row because we literally have every single row. It could be totally different, right? Those pizzas change over time. So it's a really, really nice one to be able to get some great summing across a table, but also consider multiple factors. You could do the same thing with ticket revenue is the other example here. If you were looking at maybe I want to get a ticket revenue, you could try to get the discount associated to the ticket. So many great ways. Let's see it in action. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to open up my DAX aggregations file, and I'm going to go to page 2 here, which is SUMX. Now, SUMX here actually has 2 things already in the table for us, and that is going to be sales amount and the product cost. So what we could do here is assess what is my total sales, or really not even total sales, right? What is my profit considering how much I sold and considering the cost? So I could right there, row by row across the table, assess the sales amount to the cost and figure out a profit. Let's do it. So I'm going to go to my measures table here, right click. We're going to get a new measure here. The only change here is if you notice the last thing we did with sum, I just made sure we had the actual tag name there. And I'm going to do the same here. So I'm going to do my parentheses SUMX. So we know that this is our SUMX function. And what we're going to do is look at profit. Now, how do we look at profit? There's tons of things we could consider. Discounts given, sales amount, the cost. You could really expand on that in a number of ways. What I'm going to focus in on is just this sales amount and this cost. Now, I want to look at this at a row by row basis. So let's pause for a second and just consider from the table view what this sales amount and cost looks like. Because if I go over to the table view and view Fact Internet sales, if we look towards sales amount, discounts, product costs, all of these things, you'll notice, I'll hit the drop down here, they're all different, right? Each row has a unique kind of value, and we want to assess that row by row to get the right total. That is where the iterator really shines. So I've got SUMX profit here. We're going to start with SUMX. And if you remember the syntax here, it's going to need a table followed by an expression. So let's provide a table. What is our table, folks? It is the Fact Internet Sales table. And what is the expression we'd like to assess or iterate across the rows? Well, I want to know what across Fact Internet Sales, so I can consider the row context. I want to figure out what is my Fact Internet Sales sales amount minus my fact internet sales total product cost. Now, could I change this up a little bit? Sure, but this is going to show us the nature of this row by row. I'll go ahead and hit enter. That's going to be our SUMX profit. Let's see it in action. So SUMX profit looks good. Let's go ahead and bring this into our card. About 12 million. So look at sales here to cost. Okay, that decently makes sense. And let's bring in SUMX again to the table. And interesting, right? So we see a little bit of the change up here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure SUMX is a actual dollar figure for us. Looks a little bit easier. And there we go. Right. So what was the difference? Particularly, I'm looking at Canada. Not too crazy here, only about $800,000. So this is a great way to assess the profit with ever-changing values and establish that row context. What do you think about SUMX? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I love it, and I think it's going to be very useful in your DAX journey.